have watched and listened from the mountains. We have watched with disgust as your technological advancements have been overseen by a child who scoffs at tradition. And now you want to hand the nation over to this prince who could not keep his own father safe. We will not have it. I said we will not have it. Oh, I, Mbaku, leader of the Jabari,
I accept your challenge, Mbaku.
Glory to Hanuman.
What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. Come on, Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my podcast. Welcome to my podcast where I talk some shit. Every time I'm talking, man, it is lit. That's what I want my opening theme song for my podcast to be. I want it to be like some 70s funk shit, you know what I mean? Tunji's podcast. Tunji's podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Tunji's podcast. I am your host, Tunji Taylor Lewis. As you can probably tell, I'm feeling rested. I'm feeling refreshed. Oh my lord, man! I feel like all I've been talking about for the past 2 weeks on these podcasts is how tired I've been feeling, but I actually feel really rested. Just listened to an amazing message from the great pastor T.D. Jakes. So physically, mentally, spiritually, I just feel refreshed. I feel reinvigorated. You know, I feel like I got a battery put in my back, man. You know, I'm just feeling good right now. So all of you who are joining the live right now, who are oh, what's going on? Hello? What's going on? Oh, sorry, I accidentally. There we go. My bad. Yeah, but I'm feeling great right now. Yeah, man. Rest is important. Sometimes I forget. And sometimes, you know, it's hard to figure out when it's good to push through the fatigue is when it's good to rest. And luckily I've been able to do a healthy combination of both. And I feel like I'm back to where I need to be. So, yeah. What I want to talk about today is just like how grateful I am that I have really good connection with my African heritage. It's something that I've been thinking a lot about right now, just because, you know, I have been sort of going through a few circumstances in my life where, you know, you just sort of get reminded that, you know, you're a black person in a white world, you know, especially living in Vancouver, in Vancouver, Canada. You know, you don't experience a whole lot of overt racism out here, and like I'm grateful and thankful to say that that's not what I've been experiencing. But you know, there's just some things, you know, there's some difficulties in being in a space where the way you operate and the way you go about things isn't native to the environment that you're in. And there's a lot of difficulties, whether that's just like in everyday life, whether that's at work, whether that's at school, whether it's with, you know, interacting with people, that gets tough. And but I am very grateful that I've grown up with a connection with my African heritage, just because it's really given me a good anchor to identify with. It's given me like a great identifier, you know, like, you know, my parents are from Sierra Leone, West Africa, and you know, just my whole life I've grown up hearing stories about, you know, that country and what's going on about there, you know, the conflict, but also the amazing, you know, traditions and the amazing culture that goes down out there. I had the opportunity to go out there all the way back in 2009. I believe I was about like 15 years old. I got to go out there, man, and it was just it just really opens up your perspective on how good we have it out here in the United States and in Canada. But then it also opens your mind to just because we're more prosperous financially and with resources out where we live doesn't mean that there's some things out there in the third world countries that we lack, you know what I mean? So just like socially, I was, to this day, I'm just so amazed at how there's a culture where anybody can walk up to anybody, start talking, even if you don't know that person, and it's not awkward at all. Like, it's just a normal conversation because there's just such a culture of togetherness and being communal and looking out for each other in the community, even if you don't directly know a person. Like if that's your cousin's auntie's stepfather's son, that's your family. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a beautiful thing out there. And it's just definitely such a contrast from like how we are out here, where like everybody's trying to get a leg up on somebody and everything's competitive and everything's capitalist, and if I can get ahead by pushing you down, that's exactly what I'm gonna do. And out there it's just all about everything for the community, everything for one another. And each culture has its strengths and its weakness, each culture has its strengths and its cons, but the reason why I'm just so glad that I have a connection with my African heritage is being out here in Canada, sometimes feeling by myself. It at least gives me an anchor, at least gives me a place to go back to find identifiers of who I am and how strong I am, how spiritual of a person I am, how how great I am, because African people are just like the most amazing, beautiful people in the world, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? I just know that when we have the opportunity to be amongst each other and to socialize and to dance at parties and to celebrate what we want to celebrate, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm sure a lot of I have a lot of black folks in my following on Instagram, and I'm sure y'all can relate, the same way y'all just have a good time just being amongst each other. That comes from our heritage. That's our heritage. That's Africa. That's when you talk about dance trends that go all over social media, and you can just feel the joy and the spirit coming through the screen when you watch a group of young black boys coming up with a dance and doing it. That's Africa. The way we come up with songs just by that was a terrible example, by the way, but just by doing the beat on the table, you know what I mean? That's Africa. That's what we do in our African heritage. That goes all the way back, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I think it's just such an amazing thing that Black Panther, the movie, kind of started this movement of people wanting to discover their African ancestry. And wanting to go back to the motherland. And I'm just grateful that I've had that connection to my heritage since I was young, since I was born. And that's definitely a huge testament to my parents. They definitely raised me in a manner where I just have certain perspectives and sensibilities that's native to where we come from, and is certainly very different from Canadian philosophies and Canadian culture, which was kind of a difficulty for me growing up. Me just having certain beliefs about the world, just a simple example, it's talked about all the time in comedy, but the respect that African kids have for their parents as opposed to Canadian kids, and it being more of a friendship mentality or an equality mentality, whereas for African kids it's they're above me because they're my elders, sort of thing. That's a perspective I grew up with my whole life, right? Yeah, man. What do we got here? Raquel Daisley. Hi, Tunji from Barbados. What up, Barbados? Wow, I got a follower in Barbados. What? That's crazy. Well, hello to you from Barbados. But yeah, no, I am just very, very grateful that I have that, and that's definitely instilled in me. I feel like if I didn't have it, I would definitely, be lost, in this environment that I'm in. But I'm definitely not lost. I definitely have a great, foundation. First of all with God, and then of course with my heritage that my parents instilled with me. Very, very grateful for that. So that's it for tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening. Thank y'all so much for watching. Peace out.